shoulder into Tristan Jackson. That'll be called every time. That's just a poor decision by McCullough.
They started their 31. Jerome Messam, first carry for the Roughriders. The big Canadian running back, plunging ahead, acquired by the Roughriders on July the 8th. Had a good first carry of 8 yards.
I'm really surprised that Saskatchewan ended up getting Jerome Messam. I thought for sure he would be a Calgary Stampeder when John Corners went down, and they were looking to back up Matt Walter, Canadian running back position.
Messam again.
That's a good pickup. You know, he can play, if he can play fullback and maybe even rotate into a little tight end and be a change-up. Jerome Messam is a load. He's tough to bring down.
Former top Canadian in the league, and in the league where Canadians are, where everybody's looking for them. It's kind of hard to believe that he was not picked up right away by anybody.
6'3" and about 250, 245. I mean, you can work in a lot of ways into your offense.
Didn't get a great spot, and we're going to get a measurement, and he may be just short here. They are short. So third and a yard. And the punt team comes on.
Corey Chamberlain's not going to give any type of momentum. I think this is the right call. The way this game's going, and with the margin that he has now, I know there's probably a lot of people saying, oh, come on, go ahead. If you don't get it, no big deal. You're up by so much, it won't matter. But this is the smart decision. This is make sound choices.
Smile on his face, knowing he's getting heat from his players about the decision made Craig. On the return to the 38-yard line. Ottawa on offense when we come back. On defense, one of their key guys, Keith Joligan. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by GMC. We are professional grade. Back at TD Place, where the Redblacks haven't been able to create any second half fireworks this year. Still looking for their first second half touchdown. Burris under pressure. Walker in pursuit, and the long out is caught by Matt Walker with a flag as Walker comes up just short of a first down. Or check that, Matt Carter, excuse me. And it's going against Ottawa.
One of the guys defensively we haven't talked a lot about tonight has been Tyron Brackenridge.
Illegal participation. Ottawa number 85 went out of bounds and came back in and played the ball. 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Yeah, Matt Carter, if he goes out of bounds on his own, he cannot come back in and participate. And it looks like he just kind of lost where he was, stepped on the white line, and then came back in. If he's pushed out, he's allowed to come back in.
Had a touchdown last week against Hamilton, his old team. So first and 20. Three-man rush. Time for Burris. Pass, he is incomplete. And Tristan Jackson should have had his second of the night. Push-ups after that.
Yeah, it was a tough one. It was a tough catch. He had to climb the ladder to get it. Overthrown pass here from Henry Burris, who has time this time. See, he's again in between two targets. He's got Carter over the top on a post pattern, and underneath is that Wallace Miles that just kind of threw it in between them.
Second and 20. And out of his stance, Michael Dean moved early.
Interesting defensive formation by Richie Hall, the Saskatchewan Roughriders coordinator.
Ottawa, number 64. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
I'll show you, he's got On 2nd and 20, 8 players at about 18 yards. And 3 down linemen, and then the 18 yards in between them, saying, go ahead and throw it in front of us. And of course, the whistle stopped the play, but interesting.
Niederbach's going after it. Long ball downfield is complete. Dobson Collins in behind coverage.
Dobson Collins is going to run deep on Macho Harris here, and he doesn't do anything tricky, but let me show you the mistake that Macho Harris makes on the play. He's dropping back into the deep outside third, which is his zone. Now hold it there. Stop. See, he looks back into this direction and loses the deep outside receiver. That was Collins, and then is too late to react back to it.
Just the 4th pass of 30-plus on the year. Brackenridge safety blitz. Underneath, it's Wallace Miles with the hitch, and he gets about 3. But there's Brackenridge, who was such a factor last week on the safety blitz. Finally going after Henry Burris there.
He had him in full retreat mode. He just got rid of it to protect himself from the hit. Yeah, Brackenridge has done a nice job of timing up those blitzes.
So good last week. Called on an offside that the Roughriders insist was onside, but he flashed through so quickly it had the appearance of being offside. You see Tristan Jackson head to the sidelines. 2nd and 7. Here they come. Ricky Foley gets home and sacks Henry Burris. 2nd sack of the night for the Roughriders. And number 20 on the year for Saskatchewan. Foley with his first since the opening game, in which he had 3.
This is what happens when you've got to double team a guy like John Chick. Foley's on the outside over here, and Chick is going to run an inside stunt, get double teamed inside on number 97 right there. And then you get the one-on-ones, and it happens to be on Siobhan Walker, and that's a matchup that Foley's going to try and take advantage of every time.
Procedure call here against
Ottawa, number 53. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Matt Albright, the left guard.
Great chess match in football when you get a team that has a punch, and that punch being John Chick. So what does Rick Campbell say? Okay, we need a counter punch for John Chick. So we're going to have to double team him, tighten up, maybe play tight ends, fullbacks. If you do that, somebody else has got a one-on-one. That time it was Foley.
3rd and 17. They stay out there. Burris dancing. Gets away. Throws downfield, and it's dropped. Wallace Miles would have had a first down at the 11, but can't hang on. Turnover on downs for Ottawa. Haig got away from the pressure, but the connection not made. Let's head back to the sidelines and rejoin Jock Climie.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed about the Redblacks so far this year is that, like a lot of offenses that aren't used to playing together, is they can't seem to complete the intermediate pass. Their short pass, yeah, they can do that. The deep pass, occasionally they can hit that. But it's in the 10 to 20-yard range. This is something that Darren Durant is very adept at because he's playing receivers he's played with for a very long time. Darren Durant can see the football field. He can complete balls like this on time. The Redblacks cannot do that, and I'm guessing it's going to be long after Labor Day before the Redblacks can do plays just like that one.
Now those intermediate routes, of course, they take timing, they take coordination because you're running them opposite of other receivers. So when one guy does an under, there's an over behind it, and that's a perfect throw by Darren Durant over the shoulder of Rob Bagg. No way you can defend against that throw and catch.
Number 6, over 100 on the night with his 6th catch and 123. A big game, 125 last year against Hamilton. A couple of touchdowns in a comeback performance. Now Jerome Messam inside, but you think about Rob Baggs comeback story, and nights like this are to be savored.
No, absolutely. Big part of the offense, though, when I saw him running those dig routes, those in routes where they're getting him closer to Durant and his primary target rather than sort of the outlet guy at the wide side of the field all the time.
Durant 12 away from his first 300-yard game of the year. Under pressure here, and he'll go down back at the 37. And is that Keith Shulligan who'll get credit for the sack? Former Rough Rider there with Jonathan Williams.
Working one-on-one against his friend most of the night, and Chris Best.
Said he was used to playing against Dominic Picard. And Brendan Labatt. But for the first time, going head-to-head with an old buddy, Chris Best. And it's Capricotti who will get credit for the sack. And Milo comes out to attempt a 42-yarder.
That may be it for Darian Durant tonight.
And Milo hits from 42. And it's now 38-7 in favor of the defending Grey Cup champs. Thomas DeMarco comes in at quarterback. Guy who beat the Rough Riders in Saskatchewan last year with the BC Lions. Hooks up with Matt Carter for a completion. Pumped out by Tristan Jackson.
Well, it was an off night, especially in the first half. Now, it wasn't just Henry Burris' fault. The snowball was rolling downhill, and they couldn't stop it, but he just was off in the first half. Looked like he struggled throwing a tight spiral. Placement was off, and none to show it.
DeMarco's on. And a connection there to Marcus Henry. He's had a quiet night after the 10-catch game in Hamilton.
These are important reps for Thomas DeMarco. What he wants to do in the next 7 minutes is to plant a seed in his head coach's mind, Rick Campbell, and say, you know, if things go like that early on, don't hesitate to put me in the game.
1,325 yards last year, 10 touchdown passes with the BC Lions. 16 for Henry. Blitz picked up. DeMarco rolls, has a man open. Got Jamil Smith inside the 10. 3 straight completions. And Tristan Jackson down at the end of the play has been shaken up. And they're calling for some help from the sidelines for him.
Great composure here from DeMarco. He had the blitz. It was Tyron Brackenridge, but he's picked up nicely by Siobhan Walker. Gives Thomas DeMarco a little bit more time. Gets outside and finds Smith, who tries to cut back here. Let's see what happened to Tristan Jackson. He just fell on that shoulder.
One of the best Rough Riders on the night. I have a good friend out to attend to him.
How about Thomas DeMarco?
Yes.
Free throws. I mean, you want to plant a seed, and seed sprouted already. And now I'm not suggesting that there's a quarterback controversy in Ottawa. That is their number one guy. But it is for the possibility that if Henry was to get off, Burris got off to a slow start like he did tonight, that it could be a changeup.
You make a good point, especially a developing team's going to have nights like this. And the next time it happens, maybe we see him earlier than just an onside punt.
Yeah.
But back to the drawing board for the number one guy.
This is a shame for Tristan Jackson, really is. I mean, he's had a night that you'll remember for some time. I mean, he got that early pick.
That set the tone.
Set up the score, and then took this missed field goal to the house. His second long return of the night at that point. Has had a couple of knockdowns too, I saw, and especially in the second down play. So just a all-star type night for Tristan Jackson. It's a shame that this will probably be it for him, and hopefully it's not too bad in that shoulder. Moving it a little bit, that's a good sign.
Woodney Tureen is in on the corner now. Just re-added to the Roughriders of late after being released in training camp, part of the Roughriders last year. But Thomas DeMarco has it going with 3 consecutive completions. 3 for 3, 71 yards. Can they cap the drive and score a second half touchdown for the first time this year? Short drop into the corner. There it is. Touchdown. Jamil Smith.
The game are playing a little softer.
Fire up the soft. First touchdown for Smith. And the extra point from Marco. So Thomas DeMarco puts his mark on the game. And Jamil Smith has his first CFL touchdown. 5'6", 155.
Couple of catches in the drive.
And Corey Chamberlain wants to see his team finish strong.
Yeah, he was up and down that bench in the ear of his defenders as they come off, saying, hey, don't let up at all. And I had suggested that it might be the end of Darian Durant's night in his last series. He may be back because of this. Thomas DeMarco bang on the money on every throw when he came in.
Tight spirals, all of them. And DeMarco fired up. Giving the fans something to cheer about.
Seed planted. Giving him something to think about.
Roughriders anticipating a short kick here.
I am not creating a quarterback controversy in Ottawa.
Oh, you're stirring it up. Ryan Smith, the only man back, and they will squib it downfield. Go out of bounds. It's going to bounce out of bounds, an illegal kick. So who comes out at quarterback? It's going to be Tino Sinceri as Durant's night is done.
I was wondering if that last drive by Thomas DeMarco would change the mind. I'm pretty sure that that would be it for Durant in the last series. He came off the field over 7 minutes left. This is still a pretty wide margin here.
Pretty solid night.
Absolutely. Offense that averaged 203 yards passing, 8th in the league coming into tonight. Close to 300 for Durant. They'll be over 300 as a team if Sinceri can complete a couple throws here.
49th win for Darian Durant. They'll be looking for number 50 in Winnipeg next Thursday. Tino Sinceri 3 for 6 so far this year. A handoff. Will Ford wasn't going anywhere. He ran into a brick wall.
That's when you get planted on your keister. What happened there? A wall in front of him. He ran into it. Just kind of ended up on his backside.
This weekend, the 5th anniversary of a memorable Saskatchewan win. We got an injured Roughrider 5 years ago at McMahon, and we talked to Darren Durant about this yesterday. A 24-23 comeback win in Calgary. A couple of touchdowns for Chris Getzlaf, including a 65-yard bomb to win it. It was the coming out party for Getzlaf, and even Darren Durant mentioned yesterday, really finally solidified the starting job for him when there was still talk about Stephen Giles being the guy in Saskatchewan. 5 years ago on this weekend, one of the more memorable games in the new era of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, one that really launched the careers of Durant and Getzlaf. Brett Swain shaken up on the last play, heading to the sidelines.
Yeah, that chemistry started when they were both backups, when they were brand new to the team and running scout team. And that's when he started to learn started to understand each other, become friends.
2nd and 12, Sinceri dumps it off. Here goes Ford. Will Ford, but a yard short of the first down, taken down by the middle linebacker Travis Brown with a flag on the play.
People don't forget that Chris Getzlaf didn't start as a star. I mean, Chris Getzlaf was a 5th-round draft pick, Hamilton Tiger Cats, and was traded for Corey Holmes and Jason Armstead when Durant was brand new in Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan number 66. 10-yard penalty remaining, 2nd down.
I mean, there's not many picks after you when you're in the 5th round, and it was sort of, he was kind of considered a project, and then in Hamilton was basically kind of cut loose. They kind of gave up on him in Hamilton, said he wasn't going to get there, and then Durant worked with him on scout team. They started to grow together, and then when they hit the field, man, they hit it running, and he's just become, forget about passport. Chris Getzlaf's one of the best receivers in the league.
And not many 5th-rounders end up being 2-time 1,000-yard receivers. Drop play doesn't go very far, and the punt team will come on for the Roughriders. Looking forward to next Thursday. I know that the Roughriders weren't allowed to look ahead, but Corey Chamberlain made sure the focus was tonight, and that was clear from the opening kickoff. But as we wind this one down,
yeah,
easy to look ahead. And what a series it's going to be. 3 games in 5 weeks, including Labor Day and the Banjo Bowl. But the first meeting of the, again, rivals in the West, Winnipeg and Saskatchewan, will kick off next week. Maypray steps out, gets the no yards calls, but looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah.
You know it'll be sold out, and Drew Willie makes it even more interesting. The former Roughrider coming off that brilliant final drive in Hamilton to kick off this week's action, and they'll go at it again next week, Thursday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
Yeah, you know, and I wonder if that's why Corey Chamberlain decided to keep the team out east here. They're going to practice here in Ottawa for a couple days. In fact, they're going to fly in practice roster players that run the scout team, and they're going to work out here in the east and then just travel to Winnipeg. And part of that probably the thought process there being, you know, allows the guys to be out in the hotel, they hang out together, to know each other that much better going into that big game.
Just their second road game, and 3:33 away from